Asinibingelele babukeli ehlelweni ihlelo iYoung Climber. Vitamini ngimuzi ngiwanje wangahlatshwa sibongo. Solo mbukeli sikiyo indzaba ye-COVID. Labanye bathi i-COVID thina itasithola, thina sigadzile abakake experience abakake futhi babona umuntu lophethwe ngiyo i-COVID. Sinenhlanhla ke namhlanje naKaYoung Climber sikhonile ukuthola umuntu lothi hey mina i-COVID iyanhlinhlinyisa, hey mina i-COVID ngikhamile ke jana ngikhonile kusinza ngibe khona namhla ukuthi ngidoqoqa lendzaba kuthi kimi kwendekalani. Khona ke namhlanje na Siphiwe kaVilakati naye lo muntu nje lofana nje nathi sonke naye lo phakathi iphilila nje ngathi sonke afaka imask enda konke lo wathi khanza ke bhana seyimbambile. Tasixoxela ukuthi waphunyula kanjani ematinyweni ayo i-COVID. Siyakholwa ukuthi mbukeli utawuthokoda usalandzela lona lihlelo. Hlaka nathi ke mbukeli sakhulumisana naye Siphiwe kaVilakati. Siphiwe umuntu mhlamba aqale yabonga lokuthi ube kanye nathi ehlelweni nalokuthi nje mhlambe abasibaningi bantu labafuna ukuphuma ebaleni nedigma labanye baye beve ngathi ku stigma kuthi wena mhlambe umuntu lo nje kathi nibeke kukhulunywa ngeligciwane ukuthi mawune ligciwane vele ungathi stigma but siyabonga ukuthi uvume kuba kanye nathi ehlelweni ukukhuluma mhlambe nama experiences akho. Mhlambe ke umuntu angaqale abe nekubuda nje ukuthi njengaloku phela isive siyaqhushiswa siyafundziswa konke lokho wena udibana kune-COVID emva kwetifundo letingaka.
Ngibonga kakhulu ngemukele ehlelweni ngiyamvusela nembukele ekhaya. Mine i-COVID inkhanza I do believe ukuthi ngiya-expose ka emsebentini. Kusho ukuthi after the Prime Minister announced lockdown. Initially emsebentini we did go on lockdown, on full lockdown, but I suppose ngama assessments labawenda they figured, they had reached a certain level of safety. And kuhambe isikhashana sende kwasakubuyela sibuyela in sort of different shifts and variants, but kutholakale ukuthi there is a positive test case in 17. And they announced that to us, and I remember when they did immediately in I was like, if lo muntu lengimcabangako kunglam 17, I just felt as though the odds were very high but walking out, I suppose because I think it was a generally scary time for all of us. Ngitfuke vele kakhulu, and I immediately informed my aunt at that time, so I immediately informed them, and we agreed just to eliminate risk to I'm a single mom of 2 kids, to the kids and to them, ngifune a different place to stay because now I'm known to be exposed. And we worked on that. I did that. And I think 2 days after I went to test, we were given the opportunity to go and test. I then get a call from M17 announcing that I tested positive. Whew.
Mauva okay ukhuluma ngathi kufanele ushintshe uhlale engcenye kulo 2 days washintsha soshintshela ngasemsebentini vele sobatshela ngelicingo angisenawo utamadoda sendawo thatha impahla dami ngiyawudibeka kuphi ngiyawudibana nato khona noma uva ngazi ukuthi hayi I'm trying to think ukuthi how drastic is the change. Is it a change that happens immediately kuthi kusukela nyala usayi bantu bakho siyathi kona bekungaka impose on government per se, but wakuthatha serious kangawo angisaye ekhaya nyala?
Mine was a very interesting story actually. It was very immediate, and I think that contributed to just how much I was affected by this disease. When I'm told we've been exposed and we're going to test, at the time who happens to be medical personnel So we had a discussion about it. We'll see. Perhaps, we thought around ways to deal with the exposure, but we thought perhaps just to eliminate risk altogether. It may be the safest thing not to come. So what's interesting is at that time ngicalile mina ngiyakha, but not so far from me kunabhuti wami naye uyakha. Le yakhe indlu seyifulelwe seyiphelele sekuyahlaleka, but no amenities, nothing. Kuseyindlu nje yavulwa ngemivele for all intents and purposes. So what I do then is, because bengithuthile la bengihlala khona kuyohlala, and just to get some time ukuthi ngakhe, I then go to where my clothes were stored. I get the ones I would need, umbed, a couch, just for comfort within that house. Then it was that one night when I had found out, I didn't sleep at Kaya. Then I moved in the next morning. I moved in. I got comfortable as I could be. Anyway, so it was very drastic, and I think that's when, for me, the debilitation begins, because you can't miss the fact that you've been isolated from the world, from normality, and you are confined because you have this disease, and you're a statistic of a global pandemic that's got us all in panic. And I think the thoughts around that, this is where I am, this is me, and trying to balance that with you're going to get through, you have to get through. Very difficult space to be for me. And this is prior to what then occurs when you're diagnosed with COVID-19. So at that time, I'm dealing with that. So the positive diagnosis comes, I think it's the second day. Okay. Alone, I'm waiting for the results. When the results come, I remember the first 2 days before I knew, after testing, I felt stable. I think I was garnering hope. We'll see. I mean, it wasn't. Right was not the thing. It was, I pray to God, no. Because when I heard someone had tested positive, a part of me was like, nah. And I had been very vocal. I'm very worried about the risk, because one of my sons had just turned 1 at that time, and I was like, I have no idea if I would expose him to this, he would live. So I tried so hard to be precautious. I really had tried everything, and so I was also bitter about that, because I had really tried. One cancer anyway, and I can't lie, for a significant part of the time I thought I blamed my employer. I really did. But going for Lelena day 2, but with the first 2 days, like I say, I try to find hope. So what I would do, I'd wake up every morning, because Labeng Shalakon is not far from Lelanga Kakona now. So I'd go and see progress and keep hope alive. Good time, man. I still have so much to do in Klabeni. I would garner hope. But when the news came, I remember Gwankanza on the way back to the place where I stayed in Sugangala, I froze. Like, the world stopped literally for a moment, and I thought, I thought, one, I don't even know what to think of all the things I can think right now. I really don't know what to think. But one of the biggest things was, I could die.
Yeah, I would say, I could die. And
that changes but it really changes the game. If I die, what of my kids? If I die, I might die. And you're trying to push away Loguta, I might die, but the whole world is talking about how this thing is wiping countries out. And you're just like, funeral yes. And I think with having COVID-19, I think not even for any pandemic, I think to be part of a global pandemic where there's just an excess of information of what's wrong, it places you in a bad place to try and calm down about the situation and compose yourself and work through healing. You're just like velu semnceleni ukuthi okay, I could die. I feel okay, I'll keep trying. You know, there's a protocol once you're diagnosed with COVID-19. I first got a call from the clinicians Langa Testa Corner, and then I got a call from the government institutions now to check in on me and check whether I am worth giving home care or taking into a facility. So the first call came and they were just like, keep hope alive, drink warm fluids, this. And I remember thinking, are these people serious? I could die and they're telling me to, you know, I don't know. I think perhaps a dose of anger and worry, as all the emotions you can imagine that happen to you. And then when the health practitioners called me, La Baga Health, the doctor said on the phone, no, I think we're going to have to come get you. Given what I've spoken you through and what you're feeling right now, I think we're going to have to come get you. And then for me, it's like, okay, if I have to get gotten.
Yeah, situation is deteriorating.
And, you know, it then kicks in again. I might die.
Yeah, maybe this is a journey towards death.
I might die. Exactly. That is such an appropriate way to put it. You begin to think, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the beginning of the end.
Mbukeli uyayiva lenzaba iyashisa. Utaqhubeka nayo Siphiwe ukuthi bamgotha base bamenda njani. Wakhanza kunjani, waphila njani. Konke lokho Mbukeli kukhona masibuye ekhefini kwanya sedathi shelele ekhefini. Asiphenze sikumukele Mbukeli ehlelweni ihlelo iyanclimba. Namhlanje nasihleli ne-hero, i-survivor, umuntu lophathwe ngilokugula lokukhona kulamalanga, COVID-19. She's just taking us through the journey ukuthi kwendekalani and mhlambe sitakhona kumbe kusitakala nathi thina le mhlambe ingakasiphathi noma mhlambe labanye lebaphethe basibukela edinzaweni edehlukene nabo kumbe batakhona kuthatha amandla baqine. Sigcinela Siphiwe ukhuluma lokuthi dokotela uthi kufanele ulandwe. Ukushiswa yindokotela wena uyakubona indlela kakushoko noma mhlambe uva ngilonza wani ngoba ngiphilile mina.
Yeah. I think initially angubonanga exactly, but I did explain to him because I had been symptomatic for a while, but I am symptoms that would alarm you, as it were. But I have a pre-existing condition. I'm mildly asthmatic. So ngichazela ukuthi nokunalo mkhuhlanyana ufuna ukuhamba and nephefumula sekwenda kuba uyabo, but ngibe nalokuthi within the scheme of things, the colds I get ayayevela kanjalo. And then he says, logo, I check out, no, I think we're going to have to come get you. Then I think now people speak a lot sort of through COVID times because you don't stress because it just gets you worse. And I think that did. I think knowing Gutsi, okay, if I need to be taken in a case, as it were, I think the stress shot up for me. I remember as I waited for them, I began to lose a lot of energy. I struggled to do anything. Now, at this point...
because you are struggling emotionally, intellectually, noma you are struggling very so far, so you are cooler.
Now, at this point, I can't really tell stress-wise, intellectually, mentally. Am I just beginning to give up? Norma, I'm being symptomatic still. And yes, and then I do get a lot of reports. The symptom yakuphelelwa amandla involekona. Now, lokuphelelwa amandla kwami kicks in a wave of other things. I begin to now seriously struggle to breathe. So in the day one, I'm okay, but consistently.
Kude lokhu uneswa ngibani?
Ngingedwa at this time. Yes. So I would try and wake up, ngende loko steamer, do these lemon water. People benzawo would come back, let's say ma lemon logo. So you're really trying to and my friends and relatives were trying to make sure things reach me. So you're really trying to use the things at your disposal, and again a stress factor logo. You're reminded every step of the way, you know, I'm all alone. And as days go, things become harder to do for me. At some point, I slept. I remember the last time I tried Gufut, I was beginning to struggle to breathe consistently, and it's getting denser and worse. And so I tried to steam this one last time. Ngapuma from there ngfana. And I just
bohoshaga.
Lapho you cover yourself uyazama, but you're struggling to breathe. So now these lemon ginger things, they bought me all sorts of concoctions available. I remember a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, would try and bring me warm stuff, and God bless her soul, but her husband. All these things just at a point didn't work. And I remember Nami saying to cancel I might just
so shonile,
you know.
So ucabanga kholwa so lungisa lendlela yakho yangale. I'm trying to think uti manage njani ngaleso sikhathi, so where you are in between life and death, not in terms of kuthi you are between life and death, just mentally, but nyalo nalo mtimba wakho sokufaka between life and death. How do you manage yourself? Uti encourage njani noma so just this is it, ngosi ngiyawunikela umoya wami?
I think for me, one thing I just came back to myself. I'm someone who does not like panic. I think when you're perpetually in a state of fear, you don't achieve much. I remember just sitting there and thinking, you know, I could count things I'm grateful for. I've lived, I think, a fairly beautiful life, and I at that point I was grateful. And I remember my biggest worry was, Lord, my children must have no parent has control of how their children stay behind when they're gone. In a place where they would be comfortable, pretty much that. And really, I try to find peace. But one thing I did consistently is, because I could tell my relatives were also panicking, and they were reacting in all sorts of different ways. And I feel for them, because I imagine I realized how painful it is for people to come to grips with losing someone or potentially losing someone. And I kept telling them, Khululekani, I will fight with everything I have. And that's all I kept telling them on the phone. But a part of me was like, if I live, I live. If I die, I die.
Askijime, baglanza bagmixaphi.
Bafike day 3 in Zambama. Bafike tell me they're outside. Immediately I get into the I'm had to be done, but we quantum but it's immediately the practitioner there takes my vitals, puts me on oxygen immediately. Luckily there was a tanker inside, puts me on oxygen immediately, and then makes the necessary calls. Okay. I'm sorry, okay. So bang kichimisangite just across the road la gold blood. Yes, just across here there's facility bang fix a corner to try and get me transport to take me a stake. Mabafika, I think bebasang palisa bende gonke guthathe longer than expected, because kuthiwe imibhede esteke igcwele. Again, like
my situation
and I think but I'm still on oxygen, and they're constantly checking on me, and I have to say I received very good care from the health ministry, if it is the health ministry. I really am grateful. They are checking on me consistently, whether I'm taking in the oxygen, I'm getting better, my saturation's getting better. 30 minutes later, we have a look commission. I get rushed to look commission. If you get look commission around 11 ebusuku, again I'm put on oxygen, my vitals are taken. I'm going to need this oxygen for a while because so I stayed, I think, 3 days on the oxygen.
Okay.
A look commission is where I think I got my most intensive treatment.
Okay.
It was the worst part of the COVID affliction for me. I remember it till today, and I'm just like, the only reason I accepted it was because I had to live, but I had never gone through such intense medication. I've never had a terminal illness. So to be changing drips at least 2-3 times a day, to be getting all this medication, to be getting injections, the regime was just but I'm grateful. Grateful. They got me out of the woods. I remember day 3-4 corner, I was released from oxygen, and I then began just to take the meds, and I was so grateful. And nalapho I had to be very strong because ngala siyafikiswa, but labanye uyeva kuthiwa
kude kuthi uphamise emehlo ubona ukuthi kuyambonywa lapha
kukhona
lapha sebambonya ngabe la kimi batawufika bente njani.
And that's the thing, ukuthi nakhona you had to be strong because ngala yes, we wouldn't see people, but uyeva nje ukuthi lo lokuthatha ngena emva kwakho lo denini because siyabonana la masingena, it's an open facility. Banaka phumelele. So at that point, you have to close everything off too until it's over and it's declared over. I fight.
Ngabe mhlambe kunemyth lehamba kubantu bathi abantu labakuphabanakwa esteki kunjanjani hey look commission says that labanye abantu bathi mawungathi nje ufakwe kuphi bathi usufike lapho. Ngabe ungathini ngale treatment? How is the treatment there? So to help the people labaseba thinela ku Facebook sesathi waze waya kuphi usufike
akasabuyi. And I had a story like that a few weeks ago. I think it was a relatives ukuthi bagcina umuntu ekhaya because bebangafuna yesteki but bangicethele steki, and my heart bled because truly my experience was that umabathi baka health, they're doing the best they can. They have absolutely every truth in that because that was my experience. They really were trying because fortunately or unfortunately for me, there's no private wards for COVID because it's a pandemic, hospitals are overfilled. So you get to experience what the treatment you're getting and the treatment everyone else is getting, and the government is doing their best. And the fortune for me is I went to 2 facilities. I was released from the Look Commission after intensive care to go to Mavuso for a week, but for monitoring. So what I gathered there would see less severe cases were Mavuso at that time. So when I became less severe, they transferred me to Mavuso. In both facilities, I was absolutely grateful for the treatment that I got. I felt like they were giving more than their best. I would look at these health workers and I think, this is their life. They're risking their life so I can be okay. And I owe it to them to work with them and get better.
Hey, Mbukeli, isikhathi kayangithemba bese sesizele siyaphela. Angathi amagama akhe kugcina Siphiwe bantu la kuthiwa makuthiwa faka imask, maintain distance, njani bekothi COVID mayisithola thina singena kushothi kutabe kubhaliwe ukuthi vele kushothi sitawufa ngeCovid. Ungathini kulabantu labo labacansi solo sisemdlalweni sola abakhona kubona le seriousness?
I would say impilo yakho, at the end of the day, but taking it from umuntu losandlule khona, you will not enjoy le COVID le takutfola mayikutfola. So my advice is if you can avoid it. And I always say I take solace in the fact that I really do think I tried before young cancer. I really made the effort. So I think that's what you want your story to be. Try ikhanze ulwe nalabo. Because I think these are the same people because of that ignorant element. So let's do our best. And I think for me now, if we are to heed the advice that the health ministry is giving us, vaccines are almost here, the worst is almost over. So let's begin la, just for this bit.
Mbukeli. Uyaliva lihlelo lihamba kanjalo, uyasiqhishisa lana Siphiwe ukuthi asibambise uhulumende silwe nalolu bhubhane. Siyakholwa Mbukeli ukuthi ujabulile ukuba kanye nathi ehlelweni. Akube kuhle kubuya inhlelo elandzelako. Ingosi ikubusise. Bye bye.
Ngimthishela,
Okay.
by profession. Ngumfundisi umelusi ngelubito lwami. Then ubupostoli uqalile isikhathi sengenda umsebenzi woNkulunkulu sengihlanyela emabazi.